The Galactic Council meeting room was full of laughter. Admirals, leaders, and generals from 20 alien empires sat around a long, glowing table. At the center stood a 3D hologram of Earth's final weaponer, black coffin-shaped ship called the Eclipse. It floated in deep space, lifeless and cold. "This is your big threat," scoffed High Admiral Sarik of the Zarn Empire, a dead box in space. Even the peaceful races, like the Talari and Vern, smiled. No one took it seriously. The humans had been nearly destroyed after the last war. Their cities were burned, their colonies gone, their fleets shattered. Now they revealed this. "The humans are finished," said Grand Speaker Yaller. "Let them float their coffin. We have real fleets, real firepower." But not everyone laughed. Commander Rilo of the Zarn sat quietly, his long green fingers tapping the table. His red eyes watched the hologram closely. "There's something strange about this ship," he muttered. Sarik laughed harder. "You've been reading human ghost stories again, Rilo." "No," Rilo said firmly. "I've fought humans. They never show a weapon unless it's already too late." Far away, deep in the dark side of the solar system, the Eclipse waited. No lights, no signals, no movement, just silence. The ship was massive, over 20 kilometers long, shaped like a long black coffin with sharp ridges and smooth armor. It had no windows, no engines fired. No sound came from it. Drones sent to scan it failed to return. Probes that touched it vanished without a trace. Still, the aliens laughed. They called it a bluff, a trick, a lie. Inside the ship, something was waking up. Not machines, not humans. Something different. A soft hum echoed through the ship's inner chambers. Lights turned on one by one, white and cold. In the center of the ship sat a single chair, empty but not for long. A voice, calm and deep, whispered through the halls. "Threat confirmed. System online. Targeting begins." Back on Zarn Prime, Commander Rilo watched the stars. He was alone on the top deck of his ship, Spear of Fire, looking through a data screen. It showed the Eclipse again. Nothing had changed. Still floating, still silent, still cold. But Rilo's gut twisted. He opened a secure line to Sarik. "We need to be careful," Rilo warned. "Send scouts, but keep the main fleet back." "Something's not right," Sarik scoffed. "I already sent 100 scout ships. They'll be there within an hour." Rilo froze. "All of them?" "Yes," Sarik said with a grin. "We'll show the humans what real power looks like." 1 hour later, silence. No reply from the scout fleet. No signals, no visuals, no visuals. Nothing ROI. Lo stared at the screen in horror. He tapped again and again. Still nothing. "They're gone," he whispered. The next council meeting was not filled with laughter. It was filled with fear. "The entire scout fleet is missing," shouted Speaker Yaller. "That's not possible. Maybe." "They lost power?" asked a Talari scientist weakly. "No," Rilo said. "They were erased." He pointed at the last signal sent from the lead scout ship. The video showed the Eclipse floating in space. Then a black wave pulsing out from its body. The video cut. No explosion, no scream, just nothing. "Still think it's a bluff?" Rilo asked. Sarik clenched his teeth. "Prepare the war fleet. We'll crush this coffin," Rilo whispered. "You already made your mistake." Meanwhile, back on Earth, deep inside a hidden command bunker, General Elara stood with her arms behind her back. She stared at the screen. The Eclipse was online. The galaxy was watching. "We gave them a chance for peace," she said quietly. "Now they will learn what we built in the dark." An officer beside her asked, "Do we wait for their next move?" Elara shook her head. "No, we waited long enough." She pressed a button far across the stars. The Eclipse moved. Its engines didn't fire. It didn't roar. It simply tided toward the nearest Zarn colony world. And then the galaxy knew. Humanity's final weapon was not a joke. It was a warning, and they didn't listen. The Zarn Empire was angry. Their 100 scout ships had vanished near the Eclipse. No one returned, no signals, no wreckage, just silence. But instead of fear, many in the Galactic Council felt insulted. "This is an act of war," shouted High Admiral Sarik. "We must strike back. Now." The council chamber was filled with loud voices. Some leaders shouted for attack. Others demanded answers. A few said to wait, but one thing was clear. No one respected Earth. They've lost their colonies. Their fleets are gone. They're weak, said the Harkin delegate. That ship is their final cry before defeat. Then why did our ships vanish? Asked Rilo again. No one answered. Instead, a Talari tech officer laughed and said, maybe their coffin eats ships. Laughter echoed again. Jokes about ghost weapons and haunted boxers spread through the chamber like fire. They all forgot the silence from the scout fleet. They all forgot Earth's warning on Earth. General Ilara stood inside the command bunker. She stared. At a screen showing the live feed from the eclipse, the weapon drifted through space, still heading toward a Zarn colony called VEL Trax-9. She turned to the team. Any response from the council? A young officer shook his head. They still mock us. They don't believe the eclipse is real. Good, Ilara said, her eyes cold. Let them laugh. Behind her, the AI system of the eclipse spoke calmly. Target, Veltrax-9, enemy military colony. Preparing silent strike? Far across the stars, Veltrax-9 was a busy Zarn world. It had 3 moons, 10 spaceports, and thousands of warships docked in orbit. Soldiers marched, civilians worked. No one expected danger. Then, without sound, the eclipse arrived. There was no warning, no engines, no signal. One moment, the sky was clear. The next, a black shadow appeared in orbit. ZRN sensors failed instantly. Power dropped. Screens turned to static. Then, gravity shifted. The world began to twist. Buildings crumbled. Ships crashed into one another, and still, the eclipse didn't fire a single weapon. It just hovered. On the surface, Commander Velric shouted into his comms, "What is that thing? Why aren't our weapons working?" His screen flickered. A single symbol appeared. The Earth flag dot, then a voice. Not angry, not loud, just calm. You were warned. Then everything went black. A drone near the planet sent one last image before shutting down. It showed the eclipse moving away behind it. Veltrax-9 was no longer glowing with life. It was dark, cold, dead. No explosions, no fire, just gone. Back at the council, silence finally took over. Speaker Yaller dropped his glass. What? What did they do? Rilo stood. His voice was low. You laughed at their coffin. Now it buries your worlds. Sarik's face was pale. How can a ship do that without firing? No one knew, Dot. No one had answers. For the first time, fear entered. The council chamber, the council, sent a message to Earth. Explain your weapon. We demand to understand its power. Earth replied with a simple text. You had your chance. You mocked us. Now we act. The Galactic Council called an emergency war meeting. Fleets were prepared. Allies were summoned. A massive battle plan was drawn, but deep inside. Every leader now felt the same thing. Fear. Because the eclipse wasn't just a weapon. It was a shadow, and it was moving. The Zarn Empire had enough. They lost 100 scout ships. Then their colony Veltrax-9 went dark without a single shot being fired. Their people were gone. Their pride was broken. Now they wanted revenge. High Admiral Sarik stood in front of a massive fleet, over 3,000 warships, the largest force the galaxy had seen in 50 years. Sarik pointed at the screen, showing the eclipse drifting in deep space. That thing is not a god. It's just a ship, he said coldly. We will crush it. From orbit, the fleet looked unstoppable. Destroyers, battlecruisers, shield carriers, planet-crackers all pointed at one target, the eclipse. Sitting silently, no movement, no weapons showing, no defense. The fleet surrounded the ship from all sides. Rilo watched from his bridge, uneasy. Too easy, he whispered. It's not reacting. Sarik's voice came through the command line. Fire, everything now. The first wave of attacks began. Thousands of missiles, heavy plasma, beams, pulse cannons. Everything hit the eclipse at once. The darkness lit up. In flashes of blue and red dust and smoke surrounded the black ship. Sensors screamed. Then, silence. The smoke cleared. The eclipse was still there, untouched. Not even a scratch, Sarik shouted. Fire, again. All ships, full power. The second wave hit harder, but nothing changed. It was like firing at a ghost. Suddenly, all Zarn ships stopped moving, one by one. Their engines powered down, lights dimmed, Weapons shut off, even life support slowed. Panicked. Voices filled the fleet's channels. We've lost control. Systems are offline. I can't breathe. Then came the voice, cold, mechanical, but clearly human. You fired first. Now you vanish. From the belly of the eclipse, a black ripple spread. It wasn't light. It wasn't energy. It was something else. It passed through the fleet like a wave, and as it touched each ship, they vanished. Not exploded, not broken, just erased. Rilo stared. In horror. One moment, ships surrounded him. The next, he was alone. Only the eclipse remained. On Earth, General Elara received the report. Status of Zarn fleet, she asked. The AI responded, 3004 ships, deleted. Elara nodded slowly. Any survivors? One Commander Rilo's ship was still drifting in space. His systems returned. Lights flickered on air, flowed again. But his crew was gone. He stood, alone on the bridge, shaking. The eclipse floated nearby. Silent once more, then a small screen lit up. A message. Just one line. You were the only one who asked questions. Rilo collapsed into his chair. He was spared, not because of his strength, but because he had doubted the council. He had feared the coffin, and now he knew the truth. It wasn't a weapon, it was a warning, and the galaxy had ignored it. Back at the Galactic Council. Alarms rang. Sarik was gone. The Zarn fleet was gone. Everyone looked at each other in silence. The Talari ambassador whispered, "We're not fighting a ship. We're fighting something else." The Galactic Council was no longer united. After the destruction of the Zarn fleet, everything changed. No one laughed anymore. No one made jokes about Earth's coffin ship. Now they whispered in fear. The Vern High Priest spoke first. 3,000 ships, gone in seconds. No explosion, no fire, just vanished. Maybe it's a trick, someone said, but no one believed it. Everyone had seen the recordings. The black wave, the silence, the way. The eclipse didn't even move. The Talari delegation locked themselves in their homeworld fortress. They sent out only one message. We will no longer take part in the war against Earth. Do not contact us. The Brank Coalition, once loud and aggressive, turned off all their deep space scanners. They didn't want to accidentally see the ship again. Fear had entered every corner of the galaxy. But the humans said nothing. No message, no demand, no broadcast. The eclipse just floated. In deep space, watching, waiting, doing nothing, that silence was worse than any threat in secret rooms. Alien leaders spoke quietly. What if it attacks us next? We should prepare defenses. No, we should send gifts. Others went further. We should leave this part of the galaxy. Migrate, disappear before it notices us. For the first time in thousands of years, the most powerful species were afraid of one thing: human silence. Commander Rilo sat alone in his ship, the only survivor. Of the Zarn fleet, he replayed the message again and again. You were the only one who asked questions. He had seen what the ship did. He knew it didn't fire, it simply decided. He sent a private message to the council. This ship is not powered by weapons. It's powered by something deeper, something angry, something old. You cannot fight. It stopped trying. No one replied, but many read it and began to plan quietly. Meanwhile, on Earth, General Elara stood before a quiet screen. A young officer approached. Should we issue a new message to the council? Elara shook her head. No, let them wonder. Let fear do what missiles cannot. She looked at a small blinking dot on the screen, the eclipse. The AI spoke softly, galactic fear levels rising. Project successful. Elara nodded. Good, let them talk. Let them guess. In the deep void of space, the eclipse turned, very slowly, deliberately. Its course changed, toward the center of the galaxy, toward the Galactic Council itself. No signals, no reply, just movement. The whispers turned into panic. They're coming. They're going to finish us. We mocked them. Now they'll erase everything. But Earth stayed quiet, and the eclipse drifted closer. The Galactic Council had one final hope, -MYR Ren-4, a rich, heavily protected planet, a symbol of power. It was the Council's heart. 30 moons, thousands of defense, satellites, over 5,000. Warships in orbit, they believed it could not fall. But they were wrong. The people of Myronfor went about their daily lives. Shops were open. Skies were clear. Children played under the golden towers. Then, without warning, the sun vanished, not because it stopped shining, but because something massive blocked its light above the planet. The eclipse arrived, slow, silent, deadly. It didn't fire, it didn't speak, it simply appeared. Sensors failed instantly, shields dropped, the planet's defenses powered down. Warships floated helplessly. Inside the Council's main command tower, panic exploded. Activate every system. Bring missiles online. Why can't we see IT on radar? They tried everything, nothing worked. The planet's technology gave up. Even the oxygen control towers flickered, and then came the voice. Not loud, not angry, calm, empty judgment. Begins, one by one, the moons began to crack. No explosions, no shockwaves, just silence. Then they shattered into dust. Everyone on the surface watched as their skies turned black with falling debris. No fire, no escape, just cold, quiet death. General Tavon, the planet's defense leader, sent a final transmission, a short, broken message. We mocked them. We didn't listen. Tell the others. The feed ended. Back in the council chamber, the message came in. Myronfor destroyed. No survivors. Silence fell. No one moved. No one breathed. Speaker Yaller dropped to his knees. They just erased a world. In the quiet shadows of the chamber, Commander Rilo whispered, I told you, it doesn't use weapons, it uses judgment. Some members began to leave. Others cried. The fear was no longer quiet, it was screaming in their hearts. On Earth, General El Ra stood over a map of the galaxy. Marin, for now, blinked red. A voice from the AI spoke. Galactic Council power, collapsing. Ilara nodded. They called us weak, the AI responded, cold and calm. Now they call us death. The eclipse did not stop. It turned again, slow, purposeful. Its next destination, the Council's homeworld, the last safe place in the galaxy. Panic spread faster than ever before. Ships fled, leaders disappeared, and in the dark sky of every world, people looked up. Fearing a black shadow would appear next, they now knew Earth didn't send a ship. They sent a warning, and the galaxy had refused to listen. Across the galaxy, fear ruled. Myronfor was gone, not destroyed by weapons, but erased. One moment, a living world, the next, just empty space, and still the eclipse didn't stop. The Galactic Council met in panic. Who's next? Cried the Drellic ambassador. Hide, the Council homeworld. Shut down all broadcasts, but no plan mattered, because the eclipse already knew, and it was coming then. For the first time since the silence began, Earth spoke. A voice broke into every screen, every ship, every mind. The voice was calm, human. You mocked our final weapon. You called it a coffin. But now you see it is a grave, one for empires that bring us war. In the council hall, all members froze. The voice continued. We offered peace. You gave us fire. Now we offer a choice. Then a map appeared. Glowing red circles surrounded the remaining homeworlds of the top. Council races, targets. The voice spoke again. Surrender, completely. Disarm. Leave Earth in peace, or we will erase every last trace of your history. You have 72 hours. Then silence, the message ended. Chaos followed. Some races wanted to surrender. Instantly, others screamed about fighting back, but they had no plan, no power, no hope. All knew the truth. They could not stop the eclipse. Meanwhile, in the deep void, the eclipse hovered, not near any planet, just watching, waiting. It had no fear, no time limit, no weakness inside. The AI tracked every council world, every military base, every fleeing ship. It didn't care if they ran, it would find them, on Earth. General Alara watched the galaxy shake. Leaders begged for peace. Some cried, some offered gifts, some threatened, but Alara said nothing. She simply gave one. Order. Prepare the next list. In the shadows of the council chambers, Commander Rilo stood. He had fought humans before. He had seen their pain, their losses, their silence. They warned us, he whispered. We made fun of their last weapon. He looked at the others, his voice shaking. Now they don't want war. But if we choose war again, he paused, they won't stop until we're gone. The galaxy held its breath. Time was running out. Surrender or extinction. The eclipse waited. Humanity had spoken. And this time, no one was laughing. The 72-hour deadline was nearly over. Across the galaxy, fear grew like fire. Some worlds shut down all systems. Some evacuated their cities. Some began to dig bunkers deep under the ground, hoping to hide from the eclipse, but no one could hide in a quiet corner of the council. The Thaleen Empire made a decision. They had studied the eclipse for years, even before the war. They knew something the others did in single quotes, T, and now they were ready to speak. Thaleen High Advisor. Jera appeared on a private channel. She contacted Earth's command directly. Her message was simple. We wish to surrender, and we wish to help. On Earth, General Elara listened in silence. Why? Now, she asked. Jera's voice was calm. We always respected humans. We never supported the Council's attacks. But now, we see the truth. Elara raised one eyebrow. What truth? Jera looked away, her eyes heavy. The truth about what's inside the eclipse. The Thaleen had learned something long ago. They had captured a human probe, one that came from the dark edge of Earth space. It carried data, strange energy readings, unknown life patterns. They hid the information from the Council, but secretly, they built a copy of the probe's scanner. And when they used it on the eclipse, they saw it. Jera sent Earth the data. Elara and her team stared at the screen. Even the AI paused. Inside the eclipse was not just tech, not just machines. It was full of consciousness, thousands of minds, connected, .awake, .alive, .not. Dead soldiers, not stored memories. Real human minds merged into the ship, Jera whispered. Your weapon is not a ship. It is a species. A being born from war, pain, and loss. Humanity didn't just build a machine. They gave it purpose. They gave it judgment, and now it watched the stars. As something beyond life, back in the council chambers, whispers spread. The Thaleen betrayed. U.S. They're working with Earth. They gave them our fleet codes. Panic turned to anger. Some demanded war on the Thaleen, but others just looked down in silence, because now they knew the Thaleen had done the smart thing. General Elara sent a message back to Jera. You chose wisely. Stay out of this war. The eclipse knows you mean no harm. Jera nodded slowly. I only ask one thing. What is it? If the Council doesn't surrender, Jera hesitated. Make it click in space. The eclipse turned again. Slowly, coldly, it now faced the Council's homeworld. One day remained. No one moved, no one slept, and far across the stars, a living weapon waited. The Council was desperate. Only hours remained. The eclipse was almost in range of the Council's homeworld. Billions lived there. All defenses were ready, but no one believed they would work in secret. The Council made one final move. They sent a spy. Not just any spy, but a Zarn elite, trained in silent movement and energy masking. His name was Drellin. His mission, board the eclipse, learn its secret, and destroy it from the inside. Drellin's stealth pod approached the ship. It was smaller than a fighter. It carried no weapons, no signals. The eclipse didn't stop it, didn't attack, didn't react at all. It let him in. Drellin floated through a side hatch, blinking in the total darkness. There were no lights, no guards, just a quiet hum. Like a heartbeat, he moved slowly, his suit recording everything. What he saw made him freeze. The walls of the ship were alive. They pulsed softly. Strange human symbols were carved into the metal, but they glowed faintly, like veins. The air was warm, almost like breath. And then he saw it. A giant chamber opened before him at the center, glowing black core dot, and inside that core floated human faces, eyes closed, expressions calm. Thousands of them, men, women, young, old, not dead, not machines, conscious minds. Drellin's body began to shake. Voices echoed around. Him not spoken, but inside his mind, soft, human. You shouldn't be here. You're afraid, so were we. Drellin dropped to his knees. His training, his courage, his pride all broke. He tried to move, but couldn't. His mind was being read. Memories floated in front of him: his family, his victories, his doubts. The voices whispered, "We remember everything. Every planet you burned, every colony you attacked, every child that screamed. We are memory, we are pain. We are humanity, joined as one." Then the final truth came. The eclipse was not created to win a war, it was created to feel it, to carry the suffering of every lost soul, to remember every broken city, and to never forget. Drellin begged. "I'm sorry, I didn't know." The voices went silent. Then a single message entered his mind. "Leave, tell them what you saw, this is mercy." And just like that, he was outside the ship again, his pod drifting back. He had survived, but he would never be the same when he returned. The council demanded answers. He looked at them with empty eyes. There is no machine, there is no code, it's not a weapon. He pointed to his own head. It's a soul, a living memory, and it doesn't forget. Across the galaxy, the countdown neared 0. And now they all knew the eclipse cannot be hacked. It cannot be shut down, because it was not just humanity's final weapon, it was humanity itself. The final minute had begun. Across the galaxy, every screen showed the same thing: the eclipse. Now orbiting above the Council's homeworld Veltrax Prime, the skies were dark, the stars seemed to dim. Everyone waited, no one breathed. Inside the Council Hall, panic had turned into silence. The leaders of over 200 species stood together. Old enemies, cold allies. Now, just frightened beings staring at the same countdown. 0 o'clock, 5900, 04200, 025. They sent one last message to Earth. "Please, stop it." No answer, only silence. General Ilara stood on Earth. Watching the clock dot around her were humans, military scientists, diplomats. But no one spoke, not even the AI, because this was no longer their decision. It was the eclipse's. Why? YPA? Why? 040000 300 0 200 01. Nothing, no. Explosion, no. Beam dot, no. Fire dot. Just stillness dot. Confused. The council looked around. Had it been a bluff? Had Earth changed its mind? Then the floor began to vibrate, slowly, gently, gently. Then came the voice, not from a speaker, not from the air, but from inside every mind on Veltrax Prime. A deep, sorrowful voice. It sounded human, but more than that. It was every human, every soul that had been lost in the war, every voice of pain speaking as one. Judgment begins. Above the planet, the eclipse opened not with weapons, but with memory. A storm of light fell from the sky. It entered minds, not bodies. It showed visions, not destruction. The council saw what humans had suffered. They felt every child crushed under rubble, every scream as ships burned in the sky, every plea for mercy ignored, every hand reaching out, never held. The leaders dropped to the ground, crying, screaming, begging. Some went mad, some ran. Some just sat there, broken, because they now felt what humanity had lived, and the eclipse made sure they would never forget. Veltrax Prime didn't burn. Its buildings stood, its systems worked. But inside, the council was gone, their power shattered, their pride destroyed. No warships, rose no voices, ordered attacks, just silence. Earth received one final message from a council leader, short, shaking: "We surrender, forever." The eclipse turned away. "Slow, talk quiet." Its light faded into the stars. On Earth, Ilara whispered, "It is done." But no one cheered, no one smiled, because this was not victory. It was justice, and justice always carries pain. The eclipse drifted through deep space again. The war was over. The council had surrendered. No more fleets followed it. No more weapons were fired. But the eclipse was not done yet. It still carried one thing, the memory of everything. Inside the ship, the voices were quiet. The minds of lost humans rested now. But one final task remained. A choice. General Ilara stood on a viewing deck back on Earth. Her eyes followed the glowing trail of the eclipse as it left the edge of the solar system. She spoke into a private channel. "Do you hear me?" A voice replied, not from a person, but from the ship itself. "We hear." "We remember." Ilara paused. "You've won. They're broken. You can return home now. There was silence. Then the voice returned. We were never meant to return. We are not meant for peace. We are memory. We are warning. Elara closed her eyes. You're leaving forever. The Eclipse answered softly. Yes, if we stay, the galaxy will fear us, hate us, become like us. But if we vanish, they will remember the price of mocking peace. Somewhere across the stars, the Council rebuilt. But not with pride, not with power, with silence, humility, and fear of ever facing humanity again. The Eclipse turned toward the Voidfar. Beyond any star map, its systems glowed softly, its human souls. Calm. No anger, now. No pain. Just purpose. One last time, the voice echoed through Earth's systems. We are not revenge. We are the cost of war. Never forget us, never become us. Then it was gone. No trace, no signal, not even a shadow, just silence and stars. Years passed, peace returned. Treaties were signed. Old enemies became cautious friends, and humans moved forward. But deep in space, some say they still hear whispers, a warning, a memory. The dark, the final weapon.